So think about this for a second. When was the last time you actually typed a complex product question into a traditional search engine instead of just asking ChatGPT or Gemini or maybe Claude directly?
Right.
If you're like most people, you probably can't even remember making the switch. You just did it one day.
It just happened.
Yeah, exactly. And today, we are doing a deep dive into a massive stack of industry research about the future of e-commerce. Because there is this massive but incredibly quiet shift that has completely rewired how we buy things online.
And it really has become the default behavior now. We
Yeah.
didn't hold some global town hall meeting and decide to change our habits.
Right.
The technology simply removed all that friction of traditional search, and well, human behavior just flowed instantly toward the path of least resistance.
I mean, it always does.
Yeah, exactly.
To visualize this, I want you to imagine you run a retail business. So for 2 decades, you've poured all your time, your marketing budget, your technical resources into perfecting your storefront window.
The whole display.
The whole thing. You have the lighting optimized. The displays are like mathematically arranged to catch the eye of anyone walking down Main Street. And that is traditional search engine optimization, the old SEO.
Right, the traditional playbook.
Yeah. But suddenly you look around the shop floor and you realize all your customers are walking in through a newly built back door that you didn't even know was there.
That is a perfect analogy. And the thing is, this isn't a hypothetical projection of, where the market might be in 5 years.
No.
Looking at the industry data we're unpacking today, this behavioral shift is happening right now, and it's at an unprecedented scale.
It really is.
We are looking at AI chat assistants, so systems like ChatGPT, Microsoft Copilot, Amazon's Rufus, and they are receiving nearly 1 billion prompts every single day.
1 billion prompts daily. I mean, the scale of that is almost hard to wrap your head around.
It's massive.
But I do want to push back on this just a little bit because I think you listening to this, you might be sharing some of my initial skepticism here.
Okay, sure.
Like I see that number, 1 billion, but I struggle to see the actual path to purchase. Because if I ask a chatbot to summarize a PDF or write an email to my boss, that's a closed loop.
Right, it's a utility task.
Exactly. So are these systems actually acting as digital storefronts? Or are people just asking them for, trivia and recipes?
That's the million-dollar question, and the key metric to look at here is the referral volume.
Okay.
Out of those billions of daily prompts, the data actually shows this activity is generating 1.3 billion monthly referrals directly to actual websites.
Wait, 1.3 billion actual clicks through to sites?
Yes.
Yeah.
Every single month. This is an active, high-intent funnel. The discovery journey for a modern shopper no longer begins in a search bar. It begins with a conversational inquiry to an AI.
Because we're no longer forced to speak database, right?
Exactly.
For 20 years, we were basically trained to type these clunky, unnatural strings of keywords. Like you wouldn't ask Google a real human question. You would just type, best hiking boots wide cheap, and hit enter.
And hope for the best. And then you, the human, had to do all the heavy
But I'm
lifting.
scrolling forever.
Right. You'd manually scan a page of 10 blue links. You'd open 5 different tabs, and you try to piece together the answer yourself.
Which is exhausting.
It is. What the AI paradigm does is shift all that cognitive load back onto the computer where it belongs.
Right.
A user can now ask a highly specific, totally human question, something like, what are the best waterproof hiking boots under $100 that actually accommodate wide feet?
And the AI just does the legwork.
Exactly. It synthesizes the internet, provides a really clean narrative answer, and it embeds citations, those referral links we talked about, directly in the response.
Which brings us to sort of the core mystery of this deep dive.
Yeah.
Because if traditional SEO is, putting up a giant billboard and shouting at everyone on Main Street, getting recommended by an AI feels entirely different.
It's a completely different game.
It feels more like writing a highly detailed, perfectly organized dossier for an incredibly fastidious personal shopper.
That's exactly what it is.
So how does a brand ensure that their link is the one that gets spit out in that text response?
The answer to that bridges a massive and honestly very unexpected gap between human disability and machine intelligence.
Which is wild.
It really is. Because an AI assistant does not look at a website the way you or I do. It doesn't see your beautiful graphic design. It doesn't care about your carefully chosen brand colors.
Right, it's just code to them.
Right. It has to read the underlying structure of the website's code to even understand what you're selling in the first place.
And here's where it gets really interesting. Because the exact tools a website uses to explain itself to an AI are the exact same tools that have been used for years by screen readers for the visually impaired.
Yes. This is the hinge point of the entire e-commerce shift right now.
It's fascinating.
We are talking about digital accessibility standards. So things like structured markup, alt text on images, clean HTML rendering. Historically, these were developed specifically to help a visually impaired user navigate a digital catalog using assistive technology.
Like a screen reader reading the page out loud.
Exactly. But an AI crawler, when it's navigating a digital catalog, it operates in the exact same mechanical way.
I really want to break down the mechanics of this so we can clearly see it. Because it's so important.
Let's do it.
Let's take that hiking boot example again. When ChatGPT's crawler hits a product page, we as humans see a sleek layout, maybe a bold price tag of $149.99, and a nice big add to cart button. But what is the AI actually seeing?
Well, it sees a sprawling, totally chaotic wall of alphanumeric characters.
That's a wall of text.
Yeah, and without structural guidance, that number, 149.99, is just a random string of digits floating in a sea of code. The machine literally has to guess.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, is that the price? Is it the weight in ounces? Is it a model number? It doesn't inherently know.
And machines guessing, I mean, that is exactly how you end up with AI hallucinations, right?
Mm.
Or the AI simply ignoring the product entirely because it's not confident in the data.
Which is where structured markup comes in.
Okay, break that down for us.
Think of structured markup as a series of microscopic, highly specific sticky notes attached to the underlying code.
Sticky notes. Okay.
Right. You wrap that number in a digital tag that explicitly says to the machine, this data point is the price in US dollars.
Got it.
And you tag another string of text with, this is the material. You are organizing the data so the machine doesn't have to guess. It can confidently ingest the exact specifications of the product.
And it's the exact same story with images, isn't it?
Oh, absolutely.
Because so many brands still upload a beautiful, expensive lifestyle photo of their product, and they just leave the file name as like img4925.jpg.
Which is painful to see.
It is, because if you do that, you are essentially putting a blindfold on the AI, right?
You are. It is a complete black box to the system. An AI cannot parse the pixels of a standard image file to extract the dimensions or the features. It relies entirely on the descriptive alt text that's embedded in the code behind the image. If that alt text is blank, or if it just says shoe,
Which happens all the time.
all the time. If it just says shoe, the AI gains zero actionable data.
But if the alt text says men's waterproof leather hiking boot in dark brown featuring a wide toe box and a Vibram sole, you've just handed the AI's personal shopper the exact dossier it needs to answer the user's specific prompt.
Exactly. And the source text we reviewed states this reality very bluntly. It says failing to implement these structural accessibility tools makes a catalog, quote, invisible to both people and machines.
Man, that line really demands a pause. Invisible to both people and machines.
It's heavy.
It is, because historically, a lot of companies treated digital accessibility as this sort of niche issue. You know, they viewed it as a compliance checklist that they could deprioritize.
Unfortunately, yes.
They were just ignoring the very real disabled population trying to navigate the web.
It was viewed as an exclusion problem for a specific segment of the population. But the massive paradigm shift we are discussing today, it changes that calculus entirely.
How so?
Because poor accessibility is no longer just an exclusion problem for disabled shoppers. It is now a fundamental visibility problem for the entire customer base.
Because if the AI cannot read your catalog, the AI will not recommend your catalog.
Plain and simple.
Let's look at the actual business outcomes here. Because this shift completely upends traditional definitions of metrics like SEO and conversion.
It really does.
I mean, we used to fight tooth and nail for page 1 of Google.
Everyone did.
But page 1 still had 10 organic spots, plus all the ads. If you rank number 7, you were still visible. You still got traffic.
Right. But the AI paradigm introduces a zero-click environment.
Zero click.
Yeah. Users aren't looking for a list of 10 options to research themselves anymore. They are asking the AI to provide the definitive answer directly in the chat interface.
Right, they just want the answer.
Exactly. And often there is only one, maybe two products recommended.
So the stakes are exponentially higher now. Let's make sure you, the listener, really catch this. It's not that your product is just pushed to page 2 of the search results, right? It's that you are completely absent from the AI's reality. You just don't exist.
You don't exist. Being legible to the AI is the absolute baseline for existence in this new marketplace. If you don't have this structured accessibility, you are entirely illegible to the system making the recommendations.
Wow.
But beyond mere visibility, this structural work fundamentally drives conversion, too.
Okay, how does that work?
Well, conversion in an AI context is entirely reliant on data confidence.
Data confidence.
Right. If an AI assistant can instantly parse your clean, clearly tagged data, it can synthesize a highly confident recommendation to the user.
And if the AI sounds confident, the user trusts the recommendation.
Exactly. The consumer feels informed, their specific niche question was answered accurately using your product specs, and that friction between discovery and purchase is just eliminated.
Which directly boosts purchase follow-through.
Yes, it boosts purchase follow-through dramatically.
What happens when you look at this from a competitive angle, though? Because say you have a 100-year-old heritage brand. They have a massive, loyal customer base, but their website is an absolute mess under the hood.
A very common scenario.
Right. They just rely on brand recognition. But then you have a 6-month-old startup selling a similar product, and their digital catalog has flawless structured markup and perfectly descriptive alt text.
Hey, the AI crawler does not care about the heritage brand's 100-year legacy if it can't read the page.
Right.
The AI treats the startup as the authority simply because the startup's data is legible.
So if a user asks an AI for a recommendation, and the startup's products are served up on a silver platter, while the legacy brand is just entirely absent.
That isn't just a missed sale. That is actively hemorrhaging brand equity and market share to a competitor simply because they speak the machine's language and you don't.
You are literally ceding ground to anyone whose catalog is more legible. And there is another massive issue we see all the time that creates this illegibility. And I know everyone listening has dealt with this. PDFs.
Oh, PDFs.
Right. How many times have you gone to a B2B supplier or like a high-end retailer site and all their deep product specs, the care instructions, the warranties, it's all buried inside a downloadable PDF brochure?
Companies love PDF.
Why though?
Because they are visually fixed. The layout won't break regardless of what device the human is using.
Ah, okay.
But to an AI crawler, a PDF is basically a brick wall.
A brick wall.
Yeah. Unless the PDF itself is rigorously formatted for accessibility, which, let's be honest, is incredibly rare.
Almost never happens.
Right, the AI cannot easily parse the text inside it because it's an image-based layout, not native HTML data.
So you have these companies spending thousands of dollars designing these beautiful spec sheets, and the AI just bounces right off them, learning absolutely nothing about the product.
Exactly. The information must be liberated from those closed formats. You need clean, native HTML text on the page itself. If your vital product dimensions or technical specifications are trapped in a PDF, the AI just cannot use them to answer a user's prompt.
So the mandate is pretty clear here. It's total invisibility versus massive growth.
Yes.
But are companies actually waking up to this? Because the industry data in our sources gives us a pretty major reality check.
It does. It's moving fast.
The numbers say 74% of e-commerce businesses surveyed are already actively adjusting their product content specifically to be AI chat-friendly.
Nearly 3/4 of the market is already executing on this, which completely dispels this notion that AI optimization is some, speculative theory for early adopters.
Right. It's not the future anymore.
No, it is a majority behavior already well underway.
And it gets even more intense. Because another 24% of businesses are actively planning to make these structural adjustments in the near future.
Right.
You add that up, and 98% of the e-commerce market is either already adapting or planning to adapt right now.
Which leaves precisely 1% of businesses who functionally have no plans to change.
Just 1%. So if 98% of the market is moving, you aren't early to a trend. The train has already left the station.
Long gone.
If your digital strategy hasn't pivoted to address this yet, you are meaningfully behind.
And if we connect this to the bigger picture, the debate over whether an organization needs to adapt to AI-driven search is officially over.
Done.
The only relevant question for anyone managing a digital catalog today is execution. How fast can you close the gap?
So let's help with that. Let's give you the actual playbook straight from the industry research. Where do you even begin with all of this?
The starting point is incredibly focused, actually. It's your product pages.
Okay.
That is the foundational data source that the AI assistants are pulling from when they formulate their recommendations.
Makes sense. So when you're auditing those product pages, what's the first step?
Imagery is almost always the first failure point. We discussed that alt text dossier earlier.
Right.
It requires a manual, thoughtful process. You really cannot just use automated tools that generate generic one-word descriptors.
No more just tagging it shoe.
Exactly. You must write accurate, highly descriptive alt text for every single product image. And you have to treat it as literal data input for the AI's understanding of the visual world.
Okay, so get the data out of the PDFs, put it
Mhm.
in clean text on the page, and get all the images properly described.
Yes.
But what about the conversational aspect? Because people are asking the AI full sentence questions,
Yeah.
right? Not just querying specs.
Right, they're talking to it like a person. And this is where re-architecting your FAQ sections becomes incredibly powerful.
Oh, interesting.
Think about the natural language questions your customers actually ask you. Things like, can I leave this patio furniture out in the freezing rain?
Right.
If your site has a clearly structured, accessible FAQ section that mirrors those conversational queries and provides direct, clean answers, you are creating a perfect data match.
The AI just grabs it.
Exactly. The AI will instantly pull that specific answer to serve the user's conversational prompt.
And then beneath all of that content, you have to ensure the hidden architecture, the structured data markup we talked about with the sticky notes, is perfectly applied to your prices, your inventory availability, and your technical specs.
It's a beautifully elegant solution when you look at it holistically,
It really is.
because businesses typically treat legal compliance, sales conversion rates, voice commerce, and search visibility as four distinct, massive challenges.
Oh, yeah, they usually silo them into completely different departments.
Exactly. But all four of these massive business problems are solved by executing this exact same foundational work.
Which brings us to the ultimate aha moment of this entire deep dive. Doing the right thing for human accessibility, like doing the work to ensure your site is fully navigable for a visually impaired person using a screen reader, is now functionally identical to doing the most profitable thing for AI search dominance.
They are the exact same technical task.
It's amazing.
It is an incredibly rare alignment in the corporate world. The moral imperative to build an inclusive digital environment and the technological imperative to gain a competitive advantage, they are perfectly synchronized now.
You literally cannot achieve one without achieving the other.
No, you can't.
And I think it's important to say the human element here remains vital. While we focused heavily on the machine intelligence side today, shoppers with disabilities still face immense barriers in discovery and checkout every single day.
They do.
If this structural work isn't done, the human cost of exclusion is still very much present.
Absolutely. The tools were built to solve human exclusion. The fact that they now also solve machine legibility doesn't erase their original vital purpose.
Not at all. Now, as we wrap up this deep dive, I want to leave you with one final, deeply provocative thought, and this builds on some of the last details in our source text.
This part is fascinating.
We haven't spent much time on the legal compliance angle today, but there's a massive piece of legislation called the European Accessibility Act, or the EAA.
Yeah.
And this went into effect in June 2025.
Right. And the EAA is a sweeping, very strict mandate for digital accessibility. And while it is technically European law, its impact is decidedly extraterritorial.
Meaning it affects everyone.
Everyone. The sources note that 71% of e-commerce leaders surveyed state the EAA is already affecting how they operate globally, regardless of where their corporate headquarters are actually located.
Because if you want to sell to European consumers at all, your digital infrastructure must be accessible.
Exactly.
So let's just connect the dots here. We know that global regulatory laws like the EAA are strictly enforcing digital accessibility, right?
Right.
Forcing companies to restructure their code with proper markup, clean text, and descriptive image data in order to protect disabled users.
Right.
And we just learned today that this exact same accessible data structure is the fundamental architecture that AI chatbots require to read, understand, and ingest the web.
The intersection of those two realities is staggering.
It is. So here's the question to mull over this week. Is international compliance actually functioning as a massive, unintended Trojan horse?
It really makes you wonder.
By legally forcing the world's corporations to meticulously label, structure, and describe every single product on the internet for human accessibility, are these laws rapidly training and perfecting the future of the global AI economy without even meaning to?
It's such a fascinating perspective to consider. The very regulations designed to protect fundamental human rights in the digital space are simultaneously forcing the entire internet to become perfectly formatted, readable data for machine intelligence.
It means the storefront window is officially being boarded up, and that back door is rapidly becoming the only way in.
Absolutely.
We want to warmly thank you for joining us on this deep dive today. We really hope you take a hard look at your own digital storefronts this week. Stop looking at your website as a human and start trying to read it through the eyes of an AI.
Yeah, until next time.